Welcome back to the Creator Spotlight, the interview portion of the Spotlight here on Fightful. I, as always, am Steven Jensen here with Jeremy Lambert, and today we are joined by one of the most innovative guys in the game right now, in my opinion, one of the best professional wrestlers on the whole scene. He's here promoting the whole GCW collective weekend. We got the World on Lucha coming up, big weekend for the world of independent professional wrestling and wrestling as a whole. Gringo Loco is here. Gringo, thank you very much for joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, man. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you guys for having me on the show.
Thank you for joining us. Jensen, you got to mention the base god,
Gringo Loco. Absolutely.
I mean, we've got to talk about right off the bat this viral moment that went viral. There you go. I'm terrible with words. Jack Cartwheel. He's doing the cartwheel to the outside, and you base him on the apron, and then turn into a driver on the outside. How did all that come together?
Incredibly that it went off the way that it did, man. I think we were both shocked. You could see it on both of our faces before we executed the move right after that we were just like, hell yeah, man, this is happening, and it's probably going to be viral in the next couple of days, and it's exactly what happened. I mean, I got to give a shout out to the real innovator of it all, man. It was Mike Bailey. It was we got to the arena. Before he even said hello, he was doing some motion with his hands and stuff. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Like, he's trying to convey a message to me via body language. And I'm like, wait, I got down. I had to go down the stage all the way around some guardrails. I was like, what are you trying to say, man? And then he explained it to me. I was like, dude, that sounds impossible. And he was like, it would be the coolest thing that I've ever seen. I was like, well, I'm willing to try it. I mean, if you think it's cool, I'm definitely going to try it. So luckily, every card fell into place, and it happened the way that it did, and we were super proud of it. So
how much pride do you take in just the base god nickname? Because that's something that wrestling fans might not give enough credit to, of just how strong of a base people have, because there's a lot of protection that goes into that with your opponent to make sure they're good and they're not going to get hurt on stuff.
Yeah, so I personally, I thrive off of keeping people safe. I don't know what it is about me. I think it's in my blood. I like helping people look good. I like everybody being safe at the end of the match. And I don't know what it is. So it just happened to be like what part I took in Lucha Libre when I first got down into Mexico City. Actually, my first real spark of the base god name, the very beginnings of it, was working with New Japan's Bushi. And he was calling a second row turnaround head scissors. And he was a heavy boy back then, and I was a lot skinnier. And we pulled it off multiple times on many matches. And he looks at me, and like in the broken English Spanish that he had, he was like, it's always for sure with you. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I can do anything with you. And I took a lot of pride to that till this day. I actually reconnected with him after, 15 years over at GLEAT in Japan. And I told him how much of an impact that comment had on me and my entire career. And he was like, well, you're welcome. We both had a laugh because, I mean, it's really all because of Bushi initially. And then from there, many conversations with like DJ Z and stuff about how like there's all these gods of bass on the planet. We started making a list, and then we looked at each other and it was like, well, have you ever dropped anybody, bro? I was like, man, never, bro. I would never let that happen. He was like, well, you're the bass god. You got to call yourself that. And that's where it really started to become an idea of, Mel, maybe I should try this out and see how it goes.
Yeah. I want to elaborate a little bit more on kind of the creativity. Jeremy bringing up that spot, that sequence of moves, with Jack Cartwheel. And I mean, you're just a super innovative performer, man. Like, no joke. My brother, who I don't consider to be a pro wrestling fan, but he just is because he's around me so much. Like, he knows way more than the casual fan does and watches a lot of independent wrestling just by being around me. And the first time he saw you, he was like, this is the smoothest wrestler I've ever seen. Like immediately. And
bro, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's such a compliment. I've actually aimed my entire career to make people say that about my work, and you saying that to me is the biggest compliment, man. I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely, man. And this is from someone who I'd consider to be kind of like a casual viewer. So it's like to get that kind of reaction from someone who's like not even that into wrestling, just being, this is the smoothest I've, like, this guy's incredible. Like, he immediately you stood apart from everyone else he had seen on the show, and dude, the first time I ever saw you live was actually, I think it was back, I was at a Glory Pro show in like the St. Louis area. This had to have been like 5 years ago or something. And dude, you always caught my attention, man. Just can you speak to kind of just the innovativeness of kind of your whole approach to it?
Yeah, was Naito on that show that you're referring to?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so again, that was one of my first really viral clips. It was Trey Miguel and AJ Gray, and we pulled off, again, all from this crazy brain. We pulled off a pass from the ring over the ropes onto the stage, head scissors from Trey Miguel to me. That's kind of a really tight space, very risky, but I know that I can pull things off as long as I have the right people. It went off flawlessly. I mean, that was the clip of the year for us. Like, we were so ecstatic about how it was, received by the people. But in terms of like just being innovative, I try to go into every match, and I want people to think, what is he going to do next? Because you're going to look forward to a Gringo Loco match if I'm always coming up with something different, and I'm trying to make it can't miss, undeniable, that you would ever miss a Gringo Loco match. Is where I'm generally trying to go in this business. And I mean, you have action figures laying around the house. You got kids running around, and you just kind of play with them and see like what would be safely done and never before seen. I'm sure you've seen like this top rope reverse angle slam, right? And I don't know. I just like seemed that it would work, and I tried it, and it was great. And Bandito was gracious enough to take it, and I'm starting to do that on the circuit now too. But there's so many things on the back burner, man, that I'm waiting to debut, and I just got to make sure that they're completely safe because they are pretty gnarly. So I just need to make sure that I'm not going to leave anybody hurt in the middle of the ring, and just fully make sure that they, I have their trust, they have my trust, and that everybody comes out clean and goes home to their families at the end of the day. That's what it's all about, right? So I don't know. It's just I'm always trying to be different.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the coolest things I think anyone said on this show before. So you are creating all this stuff, like you're like picking up, like, I mean, I'm surrounded by action figures. I'm a collector. So you're there, like you're at home with action figures, like thinking like, yeah, I could probably, and like that's how you're actually coming up with a lot of this stuff.
A lot of it is mental. I mean, I do have action figures around here somewhere, but I mean, you just think of the moves that are always done, right? And then how can you put just a little tweak on it, and then you do it, maybe like on the ring, in the ring, and then you could think like, how could you make a super of that move? I had just debuted that move a couple weeks ago with Mike Bailey in Montreal, and then I did a super one the next loop in New York City. So it's just like, how do you push the envelope safely? People are always looking for new stuff, especially, the common fan is going to be amazed by the first reverse angle slam, right? But the real fan who's seen everything, I don't think they've ever seen a top rope, inverted angle slam anywhere. So they're like, oh, what was that? How did he come up with that? And then you start to try to push the envelope even more, man. As these loops keep coming, you just kind of try to innovate. And I'm also surrounded by a lot of crazy maniacs too. All these luchadors are out of their mind as well, man. Like Hijo del Vikingo is just insane. Like I might be here. Vikingo is like on the third floor of this building, man. Just insane. I mean, some of these things that we pulled off at Warrior Wrestling a couple days ago, I said something as a joke that I thought was impossible, and it happened in the match. So I'm sure there's a GIF or a highlight reel being made as we speak of that match, and you'll see a couple of the things that went down. It was insane.
That's awesome. I wanted to ask you to kind of like piggyback on that, how, because I know I see you in a lot of scramble matches as well, like multi-man matches. Like how difficult, or like, because you said like you're around like these other just crazy innovative people out there that are grinding hard and trying to also one up each other, throughout, and like how do you put together these matches with like 6 people involved or whatever?
So you would think it would be difficult for the common wrestler. For me, again, I thrive off of it. It's like we have all these elements. They're all incredible in the ring individually, and we're all crazy. So we definitely make some magic here because there's trust between all of us, and we're just coming up with the best ideas possible, for the people that night. I think that, 6 intelligent wrestling brains is always going to be better than 2, and they all have strong parts to their game that we can add in addition to whoever else's game is in the match, man. I mean, as I'm talking about this, I'm thinking about Commander. Commander could do incredible things with Latigo, with Gringo, with Taurus, and they're all different and they're all incredible. I can look at an element like Aramis or Ares. I know his strong suits. I know exactly what he brings to the game. And I also want to tweak their individual, tweaks and stuff that they do in the ring to kind of suit my basing style. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always trying to make everybody look good. And while at the same time, which just recently, about 5 years ago, I started doing stuff for myself. And that's when, this kind of Gringo Loco era started. I had a talk with Taurus, and he was like, you got to do stuff for yourself too. You're always carrying these guys. It's great. You're perfect at it. And he just mentioned to me, he's like, you got to get your stuff in too. So when I started doing that, man, I mean, belts started, dropping into my lap, bro. I can tell you that.
We got one more question about that real quick, Jeremy. Before I know you guys, but can you speak a little more to your relationship with Taurus? Because he's like, I think he's still somehow underrated and underappreciated, but like every single time it's a banger.
Yeah, again, he's super base, super innovative. He is a vet. He comes from originally CMLL. His basic fundamentals of Lucha Libre are very strong. He's very old school in the way that he thinks about a wrestling match, which isn't a bad thing. And he goes in there and he tears it up every time, man. He's trying to look like a beast. He does, pretty much in every match that he's had with me or with anybody else that I've seen him, in PWG. And, I just I tweeted out how great I thought that three-way match with him, Vikingo, and Bandito was. I only saw the highlight parts of it, and it was just incredible, the ideas they came up with, man. And I know a lot of it came from Taurus himself because there were offensive moves that he was performing. But, me and him have a great relationship. Underrated, I don't know if I would go that far because he has an Impact run going on right now. I think he's one of those guys that, once he decides to sign on the dotted line at the right company, he's going to explode off the planet. So, again, he's just one of those guys that has the passion for Lucha Libre, just like me, super base and innovative, man. He has all three elements.
I want to circle back to Vikingo because he's rightfully getting a lot of attention now, coming off the Omega match, and was getting a lot of attention when he got his visa, he was coming to the US and everything. But those first US matches, they were dark matches. Even if the show was streaming, his matches weren't streaming. The first streaming match was against you at GCW. Did you feel any type of pressure of like, oh man, like we got to really show out here? Because there was a lot of hype coming in to this one, and you were basically trusted of like, this is going to be his first live streaming match for the US audience.
Yeah, I just thought it was so ironic that the stars aligned, dark match, and it aligned with me in front of him in the middle of the ring in Charlotte for GCW. I thought it wasn't surprising to me. I felt like that was what was going to happen somehow, and it did, man. I mean, like I said, I think there was definitely pressure there, but him and I have been trying to work together for 3.5 years, probably pre-pandemic, man. And something has always come up, whether it's his injury, COVID positive, travel issues. There's been a lot of times where him and I are supposed to work, wherever in the world, and it just never happened. And that was the first one-on-one, first streamable match that we've ever had. And I think it went really well.
Oh, that was a fantastic match. I know you guys worked multiple times even since then. You mentioned the match at WRLD, the triple threat match that happened, like a handful of matches since then. But I remember when that was announced, and I think we had that as one of our spotlights, Jensen, of you and Vikingo, because it was for a lot of US fans like, oh, we're finally going to get to see Vikingo after all this time. And look, if that was the introduction, you not only got to see like a great Vikingo match, you got to see a great Gringo Loco match as well. So if you were going in there for Vikingo, I hope a lot of fans came out of Gringo Loco of that match, because I thought your performance was excellent in that one as well.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely I felt the change and the swift, on social media. The numbers started going up a little bit, and every time that I'm at the merch table, they bring up that match, on how crazy it was, and he's doing step up 630s, which we now know that he did the same thing with Kenny Omega. Like, he's doing these things on a regular weekly basis, which is insane to me, and he's coming out doing them flawlessly. So it just goes to show you how much talent the kid has.
You've got the world on Lucha this weekend. It's the second one, correct? Second World on Lucha.
Yeah, last year was the first one. Mm-hmm.
Okay, how much involvement do you have? It's your show. It's Gringo Loco's World on Lucha. How much involvement do you have when it comes to putting the matches together, booking the talent, just everything that goes to that aspect of it?
Very hands-on. I am picking everybody that you see on the card. together with Brett Lauderdale, GCW. Shout out to him. You know, he's given me a lot of trust, a lot of freedom. You know, he believes in my vision for what I think a lucha show should be in the United States, which is authentic. You know, with some of the best wrestlers of lucha libre on the planet, man. Like, I'm so blessed to be a part of GCW and to have this platform with my name at the forefront. I think that you know, this is only the beginning of great things, and putting it on a pedestal where it belongs, because it's such a different art for wrestling, man. You know, it's high energy, acrobatic. There really isn't anything close to it. You know, I respect American wrestling so much, but you know, people are really getting behind lucha libre, it seems, in the last couple of years, and I'm great to be, you know, I'm happy to be a part of it, and just to have, you know, my finger on the pulse to bring all of these amazing talents to the United States.
You're facing Psycho Clown. I know you guys have wrestled before. Like, how excited are you to get back in the ring with a legend like Psycho Clown?
And by the way, the first match,
Yeah.
classic, absolute classic. The first one.
Yeah, so I don't know if you know about my weekend before that match, but I was extremely agitated and angry at, you know, American Airlines. They had lost my gear bag in Texas. You know, it was an ice storm. I had to drive, you know, to and from these cities. Had no gear, you know, so I had a lot of anger going through me before that match. So the way that it came out, man, I mean, it's pretty legendary for my career, man. It definitely, I felt like, you know, it took me to the next step. You know, facing a legend, an icon of AAA, you know, coming from a legendary Lucha Libre family, man, with the, you know, Munoz. And I think that, you know, for us to finally have this rematch, we've been trying to get to it. We didn't know what city to do it in, but to have the rematch on, you know, a show that I'm running during Mania weekend, it just felt right. So I think the fans are really in for a surprise when it comes to him and I facing off one-on-one.
The first match took place, for those who want to go check it out, it was GCW If I Die First. I assume that show is on the Fight Plus archive, so people can go back, check that out, get a little appetizer for what's to come this weekend between Gringo Loco and Psycho Clown, as I'm sure is going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah. Oh yeah, another insane match if I want to talk about from that card. Vikingo, who we just talked about, versus Laredo Kid. That's another just how where I guess kind of how that one come together. It's a pretty. I mean, it's a match that I feel like everyone wants to see. So I feel like it's an easy one to put together. But like, is that just you just being a massive fan and just thinking like this is going to be just great stuff between these two?
Yeah, so I've seen them face off, you know, in the middle of the ring in Mexico a lot, and one of their matches was rated 5 stars. I happened to be there that evening, and I just know that when these guys are on, you know, all cylinders, magic is created, man. I mean, Vikingo is Vikingo, obviously, but I think Laredo Kid, when you want to talk about underrated in the United States, he would be the guy. I've known him for a lot of years. You know, he's super innovative, been around a long time, man. You know, I was watching him on my television screen on Galavision for AAA when I was, I don't know, man, like a child, like 12 or 13. And like, you know, we're best friends now. And it just seems like the right thing to do, man. I've seen him work. Now I think that, you know, the platform is set. The table is set for this crazy match for the American fans to see finally.
And then you're a part of the DDT show as well. What can fans expect from the GCW versus DDT show?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be madness. I mean, I know there's a lot of Twitter chatter about them talking trash about GCW, and you know, I don't play that, man. You know, GCW has given me everything that I have recently in my career, so I think there's going to be, you know, hard hitting, probably some doors, probably some metal chairs, man. You know, if you're going to talk smack, you got to be able to back it up, and you're coming into our house in LA, so that'll be a good one to watch out for as well.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Jeremy. Oh, I was just gonna say I wanted to ask you something. I just didn't want to forget to ask this, but you know, we talked about your moveset a little bit and just how crazy this weekend's gonna be and how much we're looking forward to these matchups. I always keep an eye on people's movesets, and like, you know, it's always fascinating to me like why people choose the finishing moves that they do. And you have, you know, multiple moves that you can go to. The base bomb, I think, is obviously super impressive. And I love, I can't remember what you called, but like the pop-up Rikishi driver you do is just brutal as well. I know you've been using that lately too. Why those moves as your finishers? Like, why did you go with those?
I'm just trying to, you know, pick the most devastating looking thing possible, right? I mean, a regular Rikishi driver is like insane, right? You're breaking a dude's neck, he's not going to get up. So I'll pop you up with the strength of the base and then drop you and turn. And by the time that you figure it out, you're looking up the lights and I'm already back in the locker room. I mean, that's the idea. The base bomb has definitely taken me, almost all the way to Japan. I feel like that was why they booked me. I'm not sure about that, right? But it just seemed like a crazy, innovative move that I can show off my basing while still winning matches. Like before, I would do that move and the technico or the good guy would always get the better of me. And I was like, well, after that conversation with Taurus, I should definitely try to do it to where it's to my benefit. And then lo and behold, then I started doing it. And the sky was the limit at that point.
You've mentioned some crazy stuff that you've done and that you're always coming up with different ideas. Has there ever been a time where you have to name names, but you pitched something and they were just like, I don't know about this. I don't know if I want to do this one.
Yeah. So last year at the World on Lucha, I was trying to, I don't know if I should unveil this because it's still a possibility at some point, but it was going to be something that made me look like the Incredible Hulk, bro, or like He-Man, dude. And we were like half a turn away from it, and it just wasn't happening. But luckily, 30 minutes before doors, we were able to come up with those two incredible moments in my match with like the crazy double head scissor that got the attention of Chris Jericho and a bunch of other people. And then the crazy one where they launched the guy into the head scissor to me or whatever and showing off the base god skills. But thankfully that happened. But I mean, 30 minutes before those doors, I didn't have necessarily the moment of the match. And I was, kind of mentally battling myself. I'm like, dude, this is your first show. You're really just going to go in there and do Lucha Libre, which is cool, but you have to have like a moment. I think I go into every match looking for some moment. It doesn't necessarily have to be with me specifically, but a moment of the match. So they say, oh man, we remember that match. That match was good. So we lucked out last year. And again, I have that. So many of these ideas are on the back burner, just cooking, just waiting for the right moment, right people to be paired with. And you'll see what I'm talking about in the future.
It's exciting.
How was your trip to Japan and wrestling over at GLEAT? What was that experience like compared to wrestling in the US?
Yeah, Japan is a dream, man. I think that if anybody's never been there, it's just so everything is done properly. Like the ring ropes are perfect. The ring itself is perfect for bumping. The fans are just, they know when to react. They know when to not react. There's no banter from the fans, talking smack to you. It's just like they're looking. If they enjoy what they see, they're going to clap, they're going to yell, and then they go back to being silent. I don't know, man. It was just like a dream come true to me. I had quit wrestling for a little bit when I came back from Mexico, and I took a family trip to Japan, and I happened to stumble upon a New Japan show at Korakuen Hall. And, I saw a couple matches on the card that really did bring me back to my career. I mean, I really realized that I enjoy wrestling so much. Like, what am I doing not wrestling? I mean, again, I was traveling the world, which is cool as hell, but I wanted to go back to wrestling. So Korakuen Hall is significant in my career in Japan itself because it brought me back to what I love the most in life, which is wrestling. So I think that, GLEAT, the company, is a very special place. They have these really cool venues that they book. They have, superb athletes in the locker room, and you can't ask for anything else than that, man.
Any other big takeaways from Japan? Anyone that gave you some really good advice or just some other moments or experiences that you really you've held on to?
You just got to keep going forward. I was talking to Shima a lot. I told him how I've had a lot of stop-start moments in my career, and he was like, "You should have never stopped because the time that you lost, you're never going to get back, right?" And I tell that to everybody who asks me for advice, whether it's on a podcast or at the merch table. I always tell them, as cliche as it is, never give up, because there's a reason. If you lose that time, it's not going to come back. So you don't know what could happen in the 6 weeks, 6 months, or 6 years that you take off of wrestling. Anything could happen, because I was out of the business and I came back and somehow made it to Japan. So, and Mexico and Canada and all this stuff that's happening now. But you just have to believe in yourself. And that's what I took away from Japan.
Did you go to Ribera?
I did. And I liked it, but then I came back. We loved it. Me and Jack Hartwell went. It was fantastic. And then we came back and they were like, dude, you were supposed to go to Mr. Danger. And I'm like, all right. But Ribera was awesome. And we had 2 servings each and we thought we were cool. But I don't know, man. I guess it gets a lot. People talk a lot of smack about it. I don't know why. We loved it. We loved it.
that is the bit of like Robert's the famous one because it's got the jacket, but they don't actually have the best steaks. Like the best steaks are everywhere else. So that is what everyone says. Yeah. So next time you gotta go to somewhere else and see what compare there and see if Robert does have.
I got worked in Japan. It sounds like.
You enjoyed it. That's what matters. I gotta ask about this. You wrestled Ultimo Dragon. I mean, that's absolute legend right there. What was that like?
I mean, you saw the scenario that I faced him in, right? In Defy.
Yeah.
Like that itself is insane. That was my debut in Defy with Ultimo Dragon. Like it's I'm just still trying to wrap my head around it because I've never been in that type of atmosphere before. It's the loudest I've ever heard a crowd in my life, you know. And he is super over. Estrella is super over. Nick Wayne is like the homeboy there. He's super over. And then there's me. And I'm like, well, I'm a little over, but not as much as these legends in the ring, man. Like, let's just see what happens, you know? The match went very well. And surprisingly, that was my second time in the ring with Ultimo Dragon. I had a secret one that wasn't really seen too much in Detroit for Ooh La La Lucha that you'll have to look up. And that was me and Sam Adonis versus Dragon as partner. But yeah, we had like nuclear heat that night. If you ask Sam Adonis if you ever talked to him on the show, we were like scared for our lives after the show. That's how much heat we got that night. But yeah, we had a lot of fun both times, man. I mean, Dragon is an absolute legend. You know, he's got that incredible picture with all those belts. I'm working on it, man. I got 3. I got about 9 more to go to fill up my whole body. So hopefully I can either reach that picture or surpass it, man. Never know what's possible.
Let the record show Cage Match does not have any record of you teaming with Sam Adonis against Ultimo Dragon at Ooh La La Wrestling. Wow. So Cage Match is even out on this.
Yeah, there's pictures of me ripping his mask almost all the way off. There's got to be video footage somewhere, but it definitely happened.
That's the new holy grail. Get out of here, Tom McGee. We need to get the tag team match at Ooh La La Wrestling. Yeah. What are some of your future goals that you might have in mind? Whether it's you personally or for World on Lucha maybe next year, but just some future goals that you might have.
Yeah, I definitely think that we're on to something very successful here with World on Lucha, just based on ticket sales this year. It's going to be a fantastic show. I think I really enjoyed Japan so much that I would like to go for a longer period of time at some point. And just really immerse myself and work with the best that they have to offer there, because I feel like, I don't know, it's a different vibe. It's a different style of wrestling. They're very, we're going to do this and it's going to be perfect. And it was like every match that I had was perfect. And I was just blown away by the talent. Japan would definitely be one. I'm in AAA now, so I definitely, I want to have a hair versus hair match with Vikingo at some point. I think that, he needs to learn exactly, who has more experience in this rivalry that we have down there. And I think that, with him being as young as he is, he's probably going to be bald soon. But, other than that, man, honestly, I get asked this question a lot. I just want to keep having bangers everywhere and having you guys enjoy the matches that I'm in. That's pretty much it.
I have a question about Ninja Mac. He's over there in Japan, and he's kind of doing what you're talking about. It feels like. What are your opinions on him? Because he's another just super innovative guy that had a really fast come up. It felt like within the last few years.
Yeah, Ninja Mac is great, man. I saw him while I was over there for a little bit. He's always been fantastic. He's another guy that comes to the table prepared, ready, and with insane ideas. I don't know if you guys remember, but that sunset flip spot that he did with Dante Leon in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Just insane. It's just insane. Like, I would never do that or take that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just different types of insanity, but it's all controlled. He has a background in Cirque du Soleil. So for him standing on a ladder like that is just so natural for him. You know what I'm saying? So that's his strong suit. You have to cater to that when you're in the ring with him. Like, I had my most viral video clip with him, with the match that I had with him one-on-one in Atlanta. It was a top rope twisting powerbomb through a door that exploded brilliantly.
I was there live.
I ended up getting. Oh, dude! All right,
yeah, so center stage. Yeah, let's go. Yep,
dude, insane, and it got 11 or 12 million views. Insane numbers. I have nothing but respect for Ninja Mag, man. Look at all that he's accomplished, bro. He just wrestled in the Tokyo Dome. Like, you can't bat an eye to that dude. He's the man.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. He was one of the first guests we actually had on the show when we started it. So we have big Ninja Mac fans over here. Who are some people that you want to give like a shout out to that are like kind of on the come up that people might not know so much about, like whether on the lucha scene or just like the wrestling scene in general?
Yeah, so there's a lot of up and coming talent. They're really young. They need to be polished. But I think when they do and they get the visas and all that, the Mexa boys are going to be a problem to be reckoned with. They are super innovative for their age. You know, I think when I was down there a couple of years ago, they were 16 and 19, so they're a little older now. But these guys are coming up with stuff that we've never seen before. Rob Viper made 2 highlight videos of them and like set the internet on fire. It was a week of just Mexa boy stuff. And even us as innovators, you know, Ares, Gringo, all these guys out on East, even we were blown away. We're like, dude, how are they coming up with this? So I think those 2 are definitely some people to watch. I mean, there's various others, but it's just too many to count, man. I'm trying to filter them in as I can, you know, into the lucha scene, but there's only so many spots on these shows, you know.
Gringo, we appreciate you joining us. Last one. We ask everybody this. I think we're going to have to start a new question. I might ask this here in a second, but coolest thing you have in your room? I see you got a lot of cool artwork behind you.
Yeah, these are all the GCW posters and then Chicago, you know, historic sites and stuff. Born and raised in Chicago, man. You know, very proud to be here. I've been here my whole life. It's given me everything that I have. But coolest thing I have in my room, well, I got this thing right here. I don't know if you've seen. Just won this bad boy at Warrior Wrestling, man.
There you go. I think beautiful.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, other than that, man, I got a lot of cool hats and stuff, but it's not really cool for a show like this. But I mean, you know, that's pretty much it, man. World Championship, World Lucha Champion in Chicago for Warrior. That's pretty dope.
I always love the flex when wrestlers comes on. They're like, this belt right here is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, can't really top that.
We get it every now and then. Like Alec Price did like his whole interview with his belt like across his chest. We had Cole Radrick just casually just had it set up behind him. Like, yeah. So
yeah, I definitely should have been doing it. I should have done the interview like this, bro. Damn, man, I messed up. No, that's cool.
I have one more for you, and this is I'm gonna start asking everybody this now. Hypothetical.
Oh, dude, we don't have to actually make this a thing. Are you gonna?
No,
actually,
we are.
Actually,
we are.
Okay, all right. We've been asking.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, we've been asking. All right.
Hypothetical. Who would win a street fight between Eddie Kingston and Cody Rhodes?
Dude, Eddie Kingston, right? He's from the streets, bro. Come on, man. I mean, Cody's strong, but like Eddie is from the hood, bro. You got to give Eddie Kingston the win on that. You don't think? Has anybody said Cody?
Oh, this man right over here, the big Cody fan.
Hey,
I
mean, listen.
How do
it's
you
3-0 for guests right now, Jensen.
I'm going double leg takedown and just it's. I don't know if he gets off his back. You know, no rounds, no rules. I'm just saying. But listen, I'm a big Eddie Kingston fan. This has gotten so far blown out of proportion. This one stupid question that came up one time. I'm sure you're familiar with John Mosley, aka Mose, done some commentary for GCW. Me and him came up with this stupid question, and now I've been asking everyone. So, yes. but to be fair, I think I'm the only one who's taken Cody so far. I think everyone else has taken Eddie. So, yeah. Okay.
Honestly, I think you're probably going to be the only one from here on out, bro. I mean, you can look at Kingston and get scared and imagine in a back alley, bare knuckles ready to fight, bro. It ain't happening.
I would rather fight Cody, I think, though, still, because like I think Eddie would really hurt me. I think Cody might be take it a little easy, maybe have a little sympathy. I would be terrified of Eddie Kingston. Absolutely terrified.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Listen, by the way, I need to make this clear every time we say this. Big Eddie Kingston fan right here. This is just a stupid question. I think Eddie Kingston he obviously would destroy me in a fight. That's not even debatable. So just want to throw that out.
Right. Gringo Loco, thank you for joining us. I know it's a very busy week for you. Let everyone know where they can find you at, and everyone check out World on Lucha on Fight TV this Saturday, but let everyone know where they can find you at.
Sure, man. Yeah. The Instagram is I_am_basegod. I am basegod, BASEGOD. And then the Twitter is Gringo Loco OG, because I'm an original gangsta. But other than that, yeah, man, that's where you can find me, bro.
Thank you again for joining us on this week. Best of luck, everything going on this week, WrestleMania weekend. Safe travels as well. And in Chicago now, safe travels getting over to LA. Hope everything goes smoothly there. Again, guys, go out, support Gringo Loco, support independent wrestling. Follow him on Twitter. Check out everything from GCW, the collective, this weekend. It's on Fight Plus. You get everything, but specifically check out the World on Lucha, Gringo Loco's World on Lucha 2. We got Vikingo against Laredo Kid, Negro Casas against Tony Deppen, Sexy Star against Dulce Tomata, Gringo Loco against Psycho Clown, Los Macizos against Familia de Tijuana, Black Taurus and Los Vipers against Commander, Arez, and Aramis. It is April 2nd. It is on Saturday, or I guess it's technically Sunday morning, late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, depending on where you're at in the world. But go check out that show and everything else on Fight Plus from GCW, the collective. Gringo, again, thank you for joining us. Safe travels. Guys, we will be right back here on